And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Jose Martinez, who writes, I was hoping you could clear something up about the whole Warner Bros and Dune thing. At first, I heard that Warner Bros was putting everything on HBO Max. Then I heard the company that paid for Dune say no. Then I kept seeing HBO Max commercials saying Dune was going to be on their channel. Now I'm reading that Dune might go full movie theaters only. What is going on with it right now? Thank you. All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And Rob, my most anticipated movie of the year is Denis Villeneuve's Dune. That is my most anticipated movie of the year. I cannot wait to see this thing. Now, Jose's right. There has been a lot of like back and forth drama concerning this title because, you know, originally it was supposed to be theatrical. Then HBO makes the announcement, Warner Brothers makes the announcement that they're going to make everything day and date with HBO Max, which completely pissed off everybody. But everybody included the director of the film, Denis Villeneuve, who came out and wrote a scathing article in, I believe it was Variety. He wrote the op-ed for Variety, a scathing, vicious, attacking article against Warner Brothers and HBO Max for that. And then, of course, Legendary Pictures, the company that actually paid for the production of Dune, they got completely pissed off. They threatened legal action and all that kind of stuff because they wanted this movie in theaters where they could actually make their money back and hopefully make a ton more on top of that. Denis Villeneuve, the director, said, by putting this thing on HBO Max, you have killed the franchise, he said. You have killed any potential for this thing becoming a franchise, which is what we invested our time and energy and money into it for, was to be that. Well, then a little thing called Godzilla vs. Kong came out and has made $300 million, more than $300 million worldwide already, including close to $50 million for an opening weekend salvo. And that apparently has gotten other people thinking and talking. This comes to us from the folks over at Tech Radar who write, Warner Brothers is reportedly now reconsidering its simultaneous theatrical and streaming release plan for their star-studded sci-fi epic Dune. According to a new report from Deadline, the report suggests that Warner Brothers remains undecided right now about Dune's release approach, citing the monstrous theatrical success of Legendary Entertainment's Godzilla vs. Kong as a contributing factor. And that, of course, comes to us from Tech Radar. And of course they're reconsidering. Rob, you and I were talking about this on the show just yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago. We were talking about, with Godzilla vs. Kong results, I think it was probably on Monday, with Godzilla vs. Kong's results, you know, a couple things are happening. I think Disney is having some discussions about whether or not they rethink this whole premium access for Black Widow thing. I think they are. I don't know whether they'll actually go back on it, but I think they're talking about it. And I think it's also making Warner Brothers look differently at Dune, and maybe not even just Dune. There may be a couple of other films that they're looking at that's going, maybe we should just put this thing theatrically because, I mean, by having it on HBO Max, they probably lost out on $20 to $30 million. Minimum. They probably lost out. That's $20 or $30 million is now gone. They're not going to see that again. So, and they still could have gotten the benefit of it being on HBO Max later and not missed out on that box office money. So look, Warner Brothers is facing an interesting predicament. Their director does not want this thing going to HBO Max. At least not initially. Later on is fine. The people who paid for the movie do not want this thing going to HBO Max. The industry doesn't want to go straight to HBO Max. But now Warner Brothers is sitting saying, wow, the recovery may be a little bit further ahead than we thought it would be. We look at the money we got for Godzilla vs. Kong. What kind of money could we make if we just put this thing out theatrically for a now shortened 45-day window, and then we can put it on HBO Max? Rob, it is important to note that as of today, the HBO Max commercials are still boasting that day and date release of Dune is going to be on HBO Max in October. Their commercials are still saying that, so that's important to note. But Rob, at the end of the day, what do you think is going to happen? We get around to October, which is, I believe, is when Dune is supposed to come out. We get to October, Dune's coming out. Is it coming out just theatrically exclusive, or is it coming out day and date on HBO Max and theatrical? What do you think?
Well, I think that Dune, you look at Dune, there's some weird glitch just happened to me. You look at day and date releases with movies, we've talked about on the show a lot. Movies are given so much more value if they do well theatrically. It doesn't matter, it's that's how the business works. And a prestige movie like Dune, which is considered to be the beginning of both a television spin-off franchise and a theatrical franchise, it needs to have its best leg up. It needs to put its best foot forward. I think Dune is an epic spectacle. It's a great science fiction literary adaptation. It has prestige filmmakers and one of the greatest casts put together in a long time. I would love to see it go out theatrically only, just to add to the prestige of it. It's an event. Look, I'm going to be vaccinated by then. There's no way I'm watching Dune on TV for the first time. No way. I had to watch Godzilla versus Kong because I wasn't vaccinated, but there's no way. Come hell or high water, I'll order a containment suit, a biohazard suit, and go to the theater if I have to. But I think it's important that this movie gets released theatrically. And look, if the numbers keep trending downward for the most part, there's only like 5 states now in the United States where numbers are creeping back up. And those are mostly on the East Coast. So people are beating this thing. And by the time Dune comes out, hopefully we'll even be that much further along. So I can see them going back to just a theatrical model for this. Now, they might put it in theater, or they might put it on HBO Max 45 days later. But can you imagine, like, looking at King Kong numbers worldwide, what this movie could do in 45 days? What if it made $500 million or even more, depending on how theaters are open at that time? I think it's only a good thing for movies. And I'm hoping, I think what Godzilla versus Kong taught us, John, is that movie theaters could go back to pre-pandemic levels, that people want to go back to the movies. They're not scared, especially if they've been vaccinated. And I think that's really important.
Well, the last week has proved that. The
Yep.
people, like again, we made this point the other day, but it's important to point out again. Let's not pretend like Godzilla versus Kong is a Justice League or an Avengers Endgame. These are movies that have done okay. Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, King of the Monsters, they have done okay to disappointing, frankly. And for it to come out of the gate and make $300 million while there is still limited capacity, while there are still people a little bit nervous about going back to the theaters, and while it was available on HBO Max, it speaks volumes about how much people are wanting to get back to the movie theaters. Now, let's fast forward. Remember, we're not talking about Dune coming out tomorrow. We're talking about coming out 5 months from now. 5 months. Their hope was to have, like, what was it, a million vaccinations a day? They're doing 3 million vaccinations a day now. I'm going to get my second Pfizer shot in like 2 weeks. I'm going to be fully vaccinated in 2 weeks. A lot of people already are. By October, we're going to be much further along than that. And I'm going to, again, I have no insider information on what's going on with this at Warner Brothers right now. So this is just me speculating as a fan. But I would have to say, if I had to put $1 on it, I'm betting this thing will get a theatrical exclusive release. So that's where I'm coming down on. I think Warner Brothers just know they're going to make a lot more money that way and then put it on HBO Max 45 days later. I don't know, Rob, if you had to put $1 down on it, October comes, this thing's coming out, where is it going to be?
I think it's going to be theatrical only.
I agree.
I'm putting my buck down.
Yeah, and it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, and I hope it goes that way. Whether it does or not, we'll actually find out as we get a little bit closer. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the sounds of this? Like, do you think Warner Brothers really was caught off guard, as you know, all the trades are saying, with the success of Godzilla versus Kong? As we look 5 months into the future with even more people vaccinated, all that kind of stuff, does it create an environment that they're going to go, you know what, this thing needs to be theatrical only? Or do you think they'll stay where they are by putting it on an HBO Max and in theaters at the same time? How do you guys see this? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys.